Alright, well, since I'm out here, I'm going to go ahead and do a quick review or quick overview of our solar plans and setup, currently what we have going on. So what we have here is a Growatt 6,000 watt low frequency inverter. It is currently connected up to this panel over here. Is where we provide all of our panel coming out from the Growatt inverter, supplying power to our little heater down here, which is a little 2,000 watt electric heater, just to keep this space just above freezing. It doesn't run very often. So we've got one circuit up here right now and a couple of lights that are running in here. Of course, I've got my most important thing, my Keurig for my coffee when it's nice and cold out here. Then our battery charger to keep all of our batteries charged up for our rechargeable tools. We come down from our inverter. We've got fuse here for the positive side. We've got the connection up here for our battery monitor, which is one of the little Chinese ones that honestly at this point in time I'm not really happy with. I'll get more into detail on that later, but it doesn't seem to be doing quite the job that I was expecting it to do, at least. But then we come over here to the hot side. Of course, we've got a battery disconnect, which disconnects all the batteries from the inverter and everything. Of course, we got our little bus bar that we connect all of our batteries into. One side's negative, the other side's positive. Then we've got our Nissan battery bank, which is 56 batteries, consisting of 4 batteries per pack, and then we've got 7 in series. We got 4 in parallel, 7 in series times 2. I do have one of these inverters that is, I don't know if I can get to where you can actually see anything on it. It's upside down anyways. But we do have that inverter, or that BMS. I do have another one of those on order. And this little 30 amp one down here right now, I just have monitoring and controlling the charge on these to make sure we keep them in balance. And this little ground bus bar right here will eventually connect the grounds from both of the BMSs once I get the new one in, and then we will take that ground and it goes over a single ground over to the bus bar. And we come over here. These wires are for this panel, which we have a breaker that runs this 30 amp breaker runs these wires going over to the charge controller to provide power from our generator. We also do have a disconnect switch that I normally have in the off position, so I can go outside and crank the generator up, let it come up to speed, and then turn this on. And this outlet that I was just checking the grounds on and everything else, checking the socket out on it. And this particular one here is only run off the generator for this outlet, so if the generator is not running, there's no power. That goes outside to the 15,000 watts or 1,500 watts of solar panels that I have coming in, and those are coming in through here. They come in through here, which this is just my makeshift right now kind of insulation to keep the wind and everything else from coming out, because this is also where my generator power comes in and my solar power comes in going out to the inverter. So that's just some stuff stuck in there to keep that. We'll walk outside and we'll walk back out to the panels again. Come back here real quick. We've got our 9,000 watt Predator generator. She's cranked up and ran all winter without any problems. We were actually, when we were out here before, we were using just it before I got the batteries all hooked up. And she is wired in through here, coming up through this tube, going into the building through here, which is that hole we saw on the other side. This is our battery disconnect for the solar panels. So for the solar panels coming from out there, they come along through this tube, which we have to bury probably within the next month or so once the ground is fully thawed out. But we still have ground that is pretty close to frozen, about a foot and a half down. So we'll get that buried, but that's our disconnect. I tried to dig this up during the winter when I put the pipe in to protect the wire running out to the solar panels. That did not end well. I wound up injuring my wrist with an auger that I was trying to use to dig holes. So needless to say, once the ground's fully thawed out, we'll get that buried. Grab my keys real quick, and then we'll walk back out here. So this is the 1500 watts that we have installed. I have another 750 watts that are actually in the one building here. Plus I have the rest of the panels in a storage panel up in town where we live at. And currently this is what we have set up here. We've got these three panels all run in series with each other, and these three panels run in series with each other. And they both come into the eco-worthy combiner box. And as you can see, we have space for 4 more sets coming in. Plus we have the surge protection device. Plus we have another breaker out here that if we were working out here, we want to make sure we weren't getting no backflow, we could just flip this breaker and there would be no power going to the shed from here either. We will get these other 4 set up hopefully very shortly, so we have all the power we need coming in. But that's pretty much that in a nutshell. We'll have 4,500 watts that are capable of going through the Growatt inverter. So going through the Growatt inverter, we can run off of the MPPT charge controller we have in there. We can run 4,500 watts worth of power. So basically a couple more strands of these. Another 2 sections of these running on it should bring us up to about 4,500, another 3,000 watts. So, and then we're going to put a couple of panels, probably 750 to 1,500 watts worth of panels facing the west. And we're going to put some that are facing, or I should say more east southeast and west southwest. We're going to put a few panels somewhere between 750 and 1,500 watts worth of panels going each of those directions, as well as south. And sometime in May I will come in here and drop this down from a 30-degree angle down to about a 22-degree angle. And then in somewhere in between June and July, we'll drop it down to about a 17 to 18 degree angle. And then after that, we will readjust the angle roughly every month, angling them back. Once we get all of the panels installed, we may or may not come out here and do this but twice a year, down to about 18 to 20 degrees for the summertime, and up to about 55 degrees for the winter time. I mean, our future goal of doing this too would be to possibly to get another 8,000 watts. So we have a total of 8,000 watts of panels that we have between what we have in storage and what we have out here. Have upwards of about 16,000 watts worth of solar. Eventually maybe even doing as much as, 20,000 watts worth of solar, and and possibly because it is fairly windy out here on a normal basis. Today is fairly calm in comparison. The one poor tree we got out over here that I wound up pulling out of the ground was because I got my drone stuck in it. And I was just trying to shake the tree loose, to shake the drone loose out of the tree, but I wound up pulling the tree up. It's a choke cherry tree anyways, and it has some disease anyway, so which is really kind of strange because it didn't have that big of roots. I'll walk over here and show you the roots on this one compared to the one that was in my backyard that was pretty much dead in the middle, or rotting out from the middle out. This particular tree here was a slightly bigger tree, but you know, are about the same size tree. This is this tree here, but the roots on it were really not all that big. They had more roots, but they were smaller in size. And that was this big guy here that I didn't mean to pull out, but you can see it's got all kind of fungus growing on it, and it was, all of the stuff was dying off anyways. You can see where it's rotten from the inside. So I put some straps on it and was kind of pulling it with my winch and my truck, just kind of trying to shake it a little bit, and it wound up and just came right out of the side of the hill. So we'll get it all chopped up and get it drying out for a little bit of firewood that we don't have to buy, because you can see on our property here, we really, other than a couple of pine trees and a bunch of these choke cherry trees, we don't really have many trees on our property. It's just all open field out here. All right, well, we will talk to you guys later, and thank you for watching.